Hey, what's up, studs? Ryan here, or M&R Productions, and today we're going to be taking a look at every LEGO Star Wars BrickHeads ever made and ranking them from worst to first. There have been 12 different BrickHead sets, and in those 12 sets, there have been 14 different individual BrickHeads. I'm going to be keeping the dual packs together here. The Kylo Ren and Rey dual pack, though, will be separated as they were released as separate sets anyway, but the Luke and Yoda dual pack will stay together, as well as the New York Comic Con Boba Fett and Han Solo and Carbonite dual pack. So we'll keep those together, but the Rey and Kylo Ren will separate. Other than that, everything else will be as is. If you guys do enjoy the video, give it a like. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. And if you guys have a favorite LEGO Star Wars BrickHeads, comment it in the comments section down below after the video ends. Anyway, we're going to start out with number 12 here, the very worst LEGO Star Wars BrickHeads in my opinion, and it's actually one of the very first LEGO Star Wars BrickHeads that ever came out, and it's Captain Phasma. I guess the first ugly thing about Captain Phasma is the base plate she's standing on, and that is just that it has that printed tile there that I absolutely hate. I think that tile looks awful. I'm glad that LEGO did eventually do away with it, but here was a little bit earlier on in the LEGO BrickHeads life, and they were still putting that stupid tile on there. I think the biggest comparison a lot of people draw Captain Phasma to is the Crimson Chin, and I think that's a fair comparison. The helmet is just way too big and bulky, and I know that BrickHeads are not made to be 100% accurate, but they are supposed to resemble the person, but this one, in my opinion, just didn't look that great, and that's why it ended up being the very worst, because it just looks awful. Anyway, we'll move on. Number 11, the second worst BrickHeads ever made is Finn. This is just another odd-looking one. I wasn't a fan of his face. It's just way too... There's not a lot going on there. There's not a lot of depth, and I think a lot of the lower BrickHeads on this list are BrickHeads without, like, faces. It looks weird like that to me for whatever reason. I know that's kind of the look they were going for with these, but I just don't love it. The hair is nice and the Stormtrooper outfit is nice, but overall I just couldn't get behind this one. And then again, it does also include that lovely printed plate, so definitely not going to be one of my favorites. The Finn BrickHead. Those actually came out together, Finn and Captain Phasma, at the same time. They're the first ones, and they happen to also be the worst ones in my opinion. I don't know, man. That's just what I feel about them. Next up, probably a little bit more controversial here, we have a Princess Leia BrickHead. So pretty, but just not a fan of this one. Once again, just kind of the flat face, not a fan of that. Like, there's just no depth to it. I don't know what it is about that flat face. I know that's, again, the look that they go for with a lot of these BrickHeads, but I just feel like there's just nothing there that looks attractive. She has the blaster, which is probably the highlight of the figure. There's some printed plates on there, or tiles or bricks or whatever on her torso that kind of create a nice little belt design within her dress there, but I just don't think it looks that great. On top of that, her buns kind of look like swastikas if they were flipped around. Like seriously, they actually do. It just doesn't look right to me. The buns look weird, her hair looks weird, her face looks weird, everything about this figure is weird. The best thing about this figure is it doesn't have the printed plate in front that looks dumb, so that's the only positive for this Princess Leia in my opinion. Anyway, we're going to move on. We have Chewbacca here next, and I'm not going to lie, if you take Chewbacca's head off, it looks like a Ugandan knuckle. I'm not joking. I did this in a video like 7 months ago, and he looked just like a Ugandan knuckle. But this Chewbacca, the hardest thing about a furry character and trying to translate that to plastic is trying to find the fur. Like, you can't make a furry character look furry when it's made out of plastic like this, unfortunately. So that's the biggest knock on this BrickHead for me. Personally, I just kind of wish they hadn't made it and gone with something instead, because obviously it just doesn't work stylistically in my opinion. Now, that being said, they did a decent job getting his shaping right, but it just looks like too kidded down. It looks like it was made for... It's like if Chewbacca was made for 3-year-olds in a kid's show. That's what it looks like to me. So, not a huge fan of this one. I like the bandolier he has on his chest there. I love his weapon as well, although he should totally have a bowcaster. I don't know what LEGO was thinking there. So, that's the Chewbacca character. We'll move on. The next one from the same line there, we have Han Solo. It's actually a pretty decent looking Han Solo. I actually really like the way they parted his hair. I also really like the torso piece there. But other than that, not a huge fan of this figure in general. The ears look weird. They just do. I don't know why. They just look weird. They don't really fit in with the rest of the figure, in my opinion. I think another cool part about him, I guess, is his gun holster on the side. So I'm going to say we're getting more to the middle grounds here. Not quite in the category where it was like the very bad. This is more of like the decent BrickHeads, and this is probably the lower end of the decent BrickHeads, in my opinion, because he has some cool features to him and some nice details. But the ears just look weird to me. I don't know. Anyway, we'll move on. The best thing about that one, again, not the best thing, but another good thing, I guess, is no printed tile. Speaking of printed tiles, here's Rey. She has one, but actually she looks really good too. The one thing that I'll never understand understand with these brickheads is with like the minifigure or with like the figures that have weapons. For the people with guns, they'll give them like custom made guns. For the people with lightsabers, they'll give them regular minifigure size lightsabers. The scale just doesn't work at all. So Rey has a regular lightsaber here. It's just really weird. I don't know why they didn't make like some special brickheads lightsaber. That would have been cool, but I guess probably would have been pretty tough for them to do as well. I love her hair. She actually flows pretty nicely onto the back there. Obviously the face, very much like some of the other ones I was complaining about, just kind of plain, but I kind of look past it here on this one. I like the torso print there on the 1x4 brick, and then the print for her belt on the 1x4 plate. It looks pretty darn good as well. I also like the way they use those slope pieces right down under the belt to kind of add some depth to the front of her dress or her clothing or whatever it is there. So pretty solid brickhead right here. And one step up here we have Darth Vader. This is an odd looking one, but it's kind of grown on me. So it's Darth Vader. He looks really good. They added some really neat printed pieces. To be honest, they have quite a few printed pieces on there. I honestly should grab my brickhead Darth Vader and see what he would look like if I gave him the brickhead googly eyes, because man, that would be hilarious. Anyway, he has the nice like ventilation piece on the front there. You see he's got a little bit of printing on the forehead, and then of course the torso and waist print are incredible. They look kind of just like they do in the movies, so they added in a lot of nice little details there. Unfortunately, he's going to have just a regular red lightsaber, but another cool thing about this one is it looks like his right hand he's trying to do the force choke, which I think is kind of cool. Even if it wasn't intended, that's totally what it does look like to me. He's got a little cape on the back, and I love the all black. It just has a nice flow to it with the stand and everything. So that's the Darth Vader. Moving on, we have our first co-pack here on the list. It's the Luke Skywalker and Yoda. Luke Skywalker, of course, in his Cloud City attire. He has the custom-built weapon, or the blaster, and then he's got the regular minifigure lightsaber. Just the weirdest combo to me every time. He has a very neat torso print. I actually really like the way it kind of flows from the 1x4 to the 2x1 there, or the 1x2 rather. His face actually looks really good because they have his hair flow down onto his forehead, so it's not just a flat tan face. I like it. I love the dark tan for the hair and the torso. I think that dark tan is one of the best Lego colors in my opinion. It looks pretty damn good. Anyway, that's Luke Skywalker. He also has like a little holster on the side as well for that weapon, but obviously it doesn't fit in there, but it's kind of built in with the 1x2 dark brown plate there. So pretty solid Luke Skywalker figure. Yoda, who looks great in sand green. Obviously it's one of the odder ones to have in a brickhead form because he's so much smaller, but they kind of did a decent job with the shaping there. I love the piece that they used for his ears. I don't know, I couldn't think of a better piece to use for them, so they did a wonderful job there. The torso and like the bottom area, like it's a little bit weird because it's just kind of like basically a cube that he is for his torso, so not a fan of that, but other than that, it's a pretty decent set all around. And now we have just 4 left. The 4th best Lego Star Wars brickheads, in my opinion, is the Boba Fett that was actually released this most recent summer. The worst part about this brickheads, though, in my opinion, is going to be the blue jetpack. I think that thing is just very off-putting. It's probably the reason it's a little bit lower than the other Boba Fett brickheads. Other than that, I like the way that the face looks. They used these printed pieces to get the contours that would otherwise be on his helmet. He has a custom-made blaster. He's got a nice-looking belt print there. It's a little bit of a bulky figure, but I think I can get past that. But we will move on because the very next brickheads has a Boba Fett in it. I don't know which one I really like better. I think the jetpack is the part that really throws the other one under the bus. But for number 3, we have the New York Comic Con Boba Fett and Han Solo in Carbonite there. Han Solo in Carbonite looks incredible. I love the way he looks. They even included the closed eyes instead of the googly eyes. That's great. They also have some printed 1x2 tiles on the side of that for like the little details of what would be the controls for it, I suppose, or whatever the locking system is. You also have these custom printed Lego Star Wars New York Comic Con 2017 tiles. Those look incredible. And the Boba Fett actually uses less printed pieces than the one we just had a look at. They actually use regular, basically 2x2 sloped pieces there for the contouring on his helmet in the front, as opposed to the printed 1x2 or 2x2 plates with the print on it. So I think that actually looks better. I'm not really sure though. Vote on the poll right above now. Which Boba Fett is better, the New York Comic Con Boba Fett or the regular retail release Boba Fett? You can vote on the poll right now. Let me know. I'm curious to see what the public opinion is, but personally, I think I'm going for the New York Comic Con one just because of that jetpack. That seems to be the edge to me. Anyway, we'll move on to number 2, and it's going to be Kylo Ren. I think Lego did a great job capturing the overall look of Kylo Ren from Star Wars Episode 8 here. He's got the scar across his face. He's got his beautiful red lightsaber, and I know it's the minifigure size lightsaber once again, but good enough. Unfortunately, he does have that printed brickheads tile, but you can get rid of that, I guess, if you want to. The other cool thing about this figure, though, is just the way his hair flows. I love the way his hair flows. It flows from right to left, it looks like, and he also has like a little bit coming down on the front of his face there, which adds some depth to it as opposed to it just being a blank rectangle, which is nice, including the scars there. So lovely, lovely brickheads here. The all black uniform again looks great, just kind of like with Darth Vader, and I love the print they did on his torso there. So loving the Kylo Ren, but the number one spot is going to have to go to the Stormtrooper. I think the Stormtrooper is the most collectible, or at least the one you can buy multiples of, and they did a great job. Unlike Captain Phasma, they actually made the helmet look pretty dang decent. They have a nice print on there. They use some nice different techniques for getting the pieces to make it look like he has the eye pieces there or whatever. They also have the blue ventilation print or whatever the heck it is, the blue lines on the sides of the face there. I'm not too familiar. I should probably look into what everything on the Stormtrooper's helmet is, because I've always wondered, but I never like looked it up. So anyway, someone will comment below and tell me I'm wrong. The belt print is simple yet effective, and then he also has like the custom Lego blaster that they use for most brickheads, or very similar design to that. It also has the simple black stand. One thing I will say though, what Lego did is when they made these new black stands, they basically made it so that if you have old brickheads and you want all the stands to look the same, all you have to do is remove that 1x2 tile and move the other tiles up one stud, and then it will look exactly the same as the new one. So that was a good thing that Lego did. I just really kind of put that together, and I should probably go back and do that with my brickheads. Maybe I'll do a video on that. But anyway, guys, that is the worst to first Lego Star Wars brickheads. Let me know in the comment section down below what your favorite and your least favorite Lego Star Wars brickheads are. My least favorite's going to be Captain Phasma. My favorite's going to be the Stormtrooper. Kind of funny how both of them are in Stormtrooper outfits, and they're both on opposite ends of the spectrum. If you did enjoy the video, leave a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And if you have anything to say, again, leave it in the comment section down below. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.